Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. Today, I'd like to talk about how we give. How we give to other people is so personal, and there's no right or wrong, but some of us limit how much we're willing to give, not based on what our hearts really want, but sometimes based on the past, based on our fears, based on our feelings of lack or embarrassment or misunderstanding. There are so many reasons why we don't give more. And it's really important that we examine them because giving is a really important part of our lives. It opens our hearts, it enriches our lives, it connects us to other people, and overall it makes the world a better place, a place we would feel comfortable leaving to our children and their children. First, I'd like to share with you a story that I heard at Jacob Javits Center a few years ago. I was there to see Amma, the hugging saint. For those of you who don't know Amma, she's inspired and transformed more than 34 million people through her hugs, her spiritual wisdom, and her network of global charities known as Embracing the World. In 40 countries, Amma feeds the hungry, educates children and women, builds homes, and provides health care and disaster relief for those in need. When asked where she gets the energy to help so many people, Amma answers, where there is true love, anything is effortless. I watched this woman for 3 days as she hugged and inspired people for free, no matter who they were, what they looked like, or how much money they had. She stayed up all night long just to make sure each person who came to see her received a hug and had a chance to feel loved. During the event, Amma told a story about a woman who boarded a bus. The woman sat right behind the bus driver, and as he drove, she gave him some peanuts. The bus driver didn't want the peanuts, but ate them because he didn't want to insult the lady. A few minutes later, she gave him some more peanuts, and he reluctantly ate them again. When she tried to give him peanuts a third time, he asked her, "Why do you buy a bag of peanuts if you don't want them?" She responded to the bus driver, "Oh, I hate peanuts, but I love chocolate. All they had at the store was chocolate-covered peanuts, so I'm eating off the chocolate and giving the peanuts to you." Some of you might have just had a little adverse reaction to the story, but Amma told the story to make us reflect on how we give to other people. She said that people often give by writing checks with some extra saved money, or give something away they no longer need. She remarked that any type of giving is wonderful, yet she questioned how often are we willing to give up what we truly love and enjoy for the benefit of another human being. How inconvenienced are we willing to be to help our neighbor, a friend, or a stranger? She said if we think about it honestly, many of us are licking off the chocolate and only giving up peanuts just to keep our lives the way they are today. Based on the current state of the world, Amma was helping us see that this current way of thinking is no longer enough. I always think about this story towards the end of the year. When I think about how much I've given and how much I'm willing to give before the year ends, I think about the times I went out of my way for other people. I think about the times that I didn't. I think about the times I felt disappointed when I gave, and the times I gave that have felt really nurturing and wonderful. I think many of us do not have clarity around our full capacity to give, based on a past experience, when we were hurt, where we felt we truly gave to someone and it wasn't respected or appreciated. Other times we closed our heart because we were just busy and worried that we need to work for ourselves and for our family because there's not enough to go around. And sometimes we just think about ourselves and our own pleasures and our own joys. And again, while there's nothing fundamentally wrong with any of our behaviors, it's truly impossible to keep our lives clean and our lives joyful and our lives fulfilled when our neighbor is suffering, when someone in our city is suffering, when someone in our country is suffering, when someone in the world is suffering. We forget sometimes that we're all connected, and it's not something we really have the luxury to close our hearts to. And how will the world be a place that we want to live and that we can live if many of us are just licking off the chocolate and giving people what's left over? I think the most important thing that we could do this time of year is to keep our hearts open and not shut down. Whatever reason that you hesitate, whatever reason you feel like closing down or closing your heart, it doesn't ever serve us because living without an open heart doesn't feel good. If we choose to focus on giving and leave our hearts wide open, we might feel more pain. But to give to somebody with an open heart is one of the biggest blessings of our lives. We need to remember this, and we need to be able to let go of the past and know that times that things didn't work out for us or someone disappointed us has nothing to do with this moment and has nothing to do with the person in front of us that might need our help. I know so many of us work so hard and we want to enjoy the pleasure of what we work so hard for. But sometimes it's nice to pass on a meal and go to a soup kitchen. And what's also really nice about it is that you don't have to think too much, especially if you're someone who always is stressed and so busy. It's such a pleasure to sit there and just cut carrots for someone else and to see their smile on their faces. I know a man who had a very stressful job that used to go to the gym 5 days a week, and now he goes to the gym 4 days a week, and on the 5th day he tutors a young man in high school, and he says it gives him some type of strength that he could never get at the gym. It strengthens the soul of his heart, and he's discovered something so deep within him every week that he feels it's part of his workout. That tutoring that young man is part of improving his well-being. And that's what giving truly is. It's part of our well-being. It's a natural ingredient to having a fulfilling life. I think this is so good to think about. Do we just give away the peanuts, or do we give away the entire thing? Do we only give away what we don't need? Do we ever make sacrifices when it comes to giving? And sometimes it's good to just stop thinking about ourselves. Some of us can't stop thinking. We have so many thoughts about what's not happening in our lives, our stresses and our worries. But when you give to someone, it all melts away. It's really one of the biggest highs anyone could experience. Once in a while I hear people say, well, I'm going to give when I have enough money, and I'm going to give when I feel the time is right. I remember my friend once said this to a man who ran a not-for-profit for refugees, and he turned around and said to my friend, tell that to the woman whose child is starving today, who might not make it through the night. And I know that might sound harsh, but it's true. It's like, what are we putting off? And again, this podcast is not meant to be judgmental. It's just for all of us to think about how much we give. I always think about how much more I can give. On a day I stayed in and watched television, or I went to a coffee shop and hung out with my friends. These are all beautiful things, but I do think about what I could have done differently to help someone. And there are also always little things we can do. We could linger a little bit more with a neighbor who lives alone. We can go out of our way when someone's having a hard time at work. Or if you have the opportunity to meet someone young, you could spend some time asking them how they are, what are their plans for the future, and if there's any way that you could support them. Every time we are with people, just being emotionally available for them is a type of giving. It's just a mindset that we're not always thinking about ourselves. We're not always thinking about what we're getting. And yes, there needs to be a balance because we need to take good care of ourselves. And we do need to pay our mortgages and take care of our children. But I have a feeling a lot of us can give away a couple more chocolate-covered peanuts every day, or every week, or every month. I know I've been speaking a lot about resolutions all month, but what a great resolution to include more giving. There are so many organizations that need help, where your talents and your gifts and your heart will make such a huge difference in the world. And it'll also fill you up. So if you feel your life is missing some meaning, or you've had some disappointments, or things didn't go quite your way this year, incorporating giving into your life will make a huge difference. It'll fill your heart with such joy, and it really will take you away from all your own worries and your own problems and make someone's life better. And as we move closer to the new year, these thoughts of giving really bring everyone closer together. It is a step forward to making the world a better place. And everything does ripple out. Whether you're helping somebody in a developing country or helping your neighbor, it all matters. And try not to worry about finding the perfect place to give, or whether you gave enough, or if the people appreciated what you did. Just always give from the center of your heart, and if the giving feels right, then you know you're making a difference. I hope you enjoyed this podcast today. If you'd like to buy my book, The Gift of Maybe, it's available at all major bookstores and online retailers. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. So let's all try to incorporate more giving into our lives. One of the most beautiful things we could do is open our hearts to another human being and help them on their life's journey as we travel on ours as well.